Bridge to Wellness. Real talk, real solutions, real faith.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to a Bridge to Wellness Conversations for Change on tonight. That's right. I'm Pastor Fletch. I'm the pastor of Historic St. Paul AME Church in Independence, Missouri, and an admissions director and community marketing liaison with a skilled nursing facility, as well as a creative design director and consultant. But I am here with my co-host, most importantly, Reverend Stephanie, a mental health professional and pastor. And today we're tackling a topic that doesn't get nearly enough attention, and that's mental health in Black men. You ready to dive in, Reverend Stephanie?
Absolutely. And I feel like that introduction of yours get a little bit longer every single time. Like you just be adding skills and things. Like you're really trying to play me out here. But yes, I'm ready. Let's get started.
It's all facts, though.
I mean, go ahead.
So let's start here. Why do you think it's hard for Black men to open up about mental health?
I think a lot of it is systemic, right? The pressures that society often teaches our Black men to suppress their emotions, not to be vulnerable. So in order to be vulnerable, that means you have to trust. So now you're not trusting people, and that vulnerability is a sign of weakness. And then add to it the disenfranchisement of our men and the mistrust of institutions. You have a recipe for silence. You have a recipe of, not being able to cry because that's a sign of weakness. But here's the thing. Everyone deals with something. Everyone cries tears. Everyone has feelings of sadness, but it's when those feelings start to linger, right? Everything when we talk about mental health is a time period that if it continues and if it goes beyond whatever the DSM, which is a book of letting us know of different diagnoses and things of that sort. But if it goes beyond a certain time, then it receives a certain diagnosis. And so just having feelings of sadness doesn't make you mentally ill or whatever, but it is something that we should begin to focus on, because if it lingers and it turns into you not having any desires in life or doing your daily activities or isolation and developing fears of whatever it may be, then now it can turn into anxiety and depression. And those are things that you just can't push through.
You're right. And that hits home. It does. I read an article saying that Black men are resistant to therapy, Reverend Stephanie. Do you think that's true?
I wouldn't say resistant. I would just say it's more about the environment. Not just Black men, but nobody feels comfortable in a place that doesn't feel familiar or that you don't recognize the space. And so I would love to say a safe space, but who knows if you can quite make it safe. But it could be comfortable. It could be inviting. And so when someone goes somewhere where you are, being transparent and being open and sharing things that you wouldn't share usually, or that may be hard for you because you haven't been taught to necessarily share your feelings or emotions. So now you're in this space. You want it to be comforting and someplace where you feel like you can trust that person. And so we know historically systems haven't served us well. But one place that has served Black men well in expressing feelings and emotions?
Hmm. Where would we feel well?
You think long, you think wrong. I know you know the answer.
Emotions. Uh, I don't know who, Reverend Stephanie.
Barbers, the barbershop.
Ah.
Don't act like you don't know, because y'all be in there gossiping, okay? Y'all be sharing all your little information, talking about X, Y, and Z.
Listen. What goes down in the barbershop stays at the barbershop.
Okay, sure. And that's how it should be.
It's
See,
a safe space.
it's a safe space, a comfortable space. That's exactly what I'm saying. Is that y'all have a level of confidentiality, which is important when you're sharing your information. But I kid, but I'm being serious. Like, it's a place where you're literally able to let your hair down and your guards down, and you don't have to worry about being judged. Like, the only thing you got to worry about, like, if the TV is actually a real TV, and back in the day, if the DVD was gonna be a good bootleg, like, those are really the only things you have to worry about in the barbershop. But other than that, you don't have to worry about being judged, and the person that you're talking to. Like, barbers got a lot of beauticians too, but barbers especially, it's been a place of comfort for men. And so shout out to all the barbers. Y'all to offer free haircuts. No,
Yeah.
just kidding.
One of my best friends is my barber.
See?
Yeah. And I think that's real. So real. But do you think that the church can offer that same kind of space? I mean, or has it sometimes contributed to the stigma around mental health?
I think that's layered, because studies show that African Americans are more prone to lean into their faith in times of despair. We know our history. We sing the songs, the hymns. They're full of moments of despair and how God comes to liberate us, how Jesus came to liberate us. And so we hold true to that. But I think sometimes, where, like what we talked about last week, of, oh, we could just pray our way through when we're struggling. It's a little bit more than that. It's a little bit more than prayer, because God gave everyone gifts, and those gifts are your therapists, your counselors, your people who understand that there are many components and many layers to us that need to be addressed. So I think that the church brings a level of familiarity, and I also think that the church, as the question you asked me, can bring some strife, because you don't want to appear to be weak. Because if I'm feeling this way, then maybe I'm not believing in God enough. And I think that's kind of the opposite of what it is. I believe in God so much. Why am I enduring this?
Come on now.
Because to suffer doesn't feel good. And I want to be pleasing to God, but right now I'm hurting. And no one is listening to me when I'm saying that I'm hurting. So I think it's layered.
Oh my God. I think we need to equip our churches to be able to address mental health just a little better, and more intentionally. Like, we can't tiptoe around it. We can't walk on eggshells around it, but we got to hit it straight forward. But I'm also wondering, what other ways can we equip our churches to address it?
So there are initiatives like that are introductory level, right? You don't have to be a scholar or go too far deep, but something like mental health first aid. And what that is just like an entry level, helping you to recognize the signs, being able to have those initial conversations. Even faith leaders, like, you don't have to be the end all be all. All you have to do is be the link in the chain to be able to make the referral. After you've done your pastoral counseling with the person, or recognizing that it's outside of your realm, don't be afraid or feel like you can't hand it off. Because we actually do more damage trying to hold on to it and solve it in-house than making the referral. There's also things like the 988 crisis line, which is nationwide, that if you know someone who is struggling, who is in need of assistance, or it may be yourself, you could give that number a call, and nationwide it'll route help to where you are, and resources and things that are in your area. So those are just some things that we can do, and also create environments that are welcoming in the church, right? so that we don't just have like this barrier, these boundaries, and it be taboo to talk about mental health and mental illness.
Amen. I pastors can preach about mental illness, mental health. I know I incorporated a Bible study lesson recently about mental health, and sharing personal experiences that will normalize that it's okay to seek help. And so I think this sounds like, especially with that mental health first aid, I think that sounds like something that every church should be doing, like every church should be doing.
Yeah.
It reminds me of how faith sustained our ancestors through slavery, through Jim Crow, through all of that. I mean, faith was the key to unlocking as so many shackles, so many barriers. But let me ask you, Reverend Stephanie, as someone who also pastors, do you ever feel like you carry a lot of weight on your shoulders? I mean, how do you personally manage your mental health? Because I need some help.
Man, do I? Maybe more than I'm comfortable to admit on this podcast of the weight that you carry. And I think for me in particular, being someone that works with people like in every aspect of my life, nothing prepares you for pastoring, right? As a social worker, they teach you, oh, you leave it there at the door. You don't bring it across your threshold of your house. You don't, working from home is quite crazy for me because everything of our teaching taught us not to bring the work home. Now we're working from home. Like, that's crazy. But in being a pastor, you carry the burdens. You carry the weight. You receive the calls when someone is in need. You're adding them to your prayer list and waking up, to just the heaviness of it all. When you see the despair in people's faces or hear it in their voices or on the news, like, I feel all of that. And so what I have been working to do is I love to journal. So I write it out. Sound therapy, sound healing, like my bowls and things that I do. My nephews, they will snap you back into reality. Like if you in la la land and thinking about whatever, just their pureness and their need for your attention makes me focus, and it actually, like, they laughter, I think it heals me. And so those are just the things that I directly do to kind of work with my mental health and get me back on track. And then as we keep saying, sorry, tongue tied, as we keep saying, is to have that community around you and people who can ground you and who walk a similar path, like be like-minded. That has helped me tremendously. So I'm gonna flip it back on you. What are some things that you face and that you utilize to be able to help combat those moments that you may be feeling low and not your best?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I've really had to do a lot of seeking self to understand myself. And I've had to learn that it's okay to admit when I'm not okay.
Yeah.
I mean, period. I've talked to a counselor, I've had therapy, I need to get back on it. And I've got a close circle of friends who keep me grounded.
Yeah.
But I'll be real, there are times when it feels overwhelming. I mean, Reverend Stephanie, you said it, especially if you're a caring pastor like yourself and myself. I mean, we care about our parishioners. They call, we answer. We wish we could do a lot more than we can, but we're both bivocational, so it's just burdensome. For me, I got a family, and then I'm also the head of my family, so I got to make sure I'm providing for them as well, and then still taking care of myself in the all-encompassing act of it. And then while I'm at work, I'm worried about the seniors that I'm taking care of and making sure they're well and just handled, and then you got every aspect of my life, and it just can be overwhelming. And so I've often had to do a lot of praying, a lot of
Mm.
praying. But again, there's my circle, and I think that those times, even when I get overwhelmed, sometimes I don't know what to do, and I'll just shut down. But do you think that part of the issue is that we're expected to be everything for everyone?
Definitely. Definitely. I think that you hit the nail on the head that Black men are expected to be strong. And I've even heard Black men not supposed to cry. Men don't cry.
Yeah.
You're supposed to provide for the family and do all of these crazy things and still be well. And often it leads to exactly what you said, shutting down, isolating, being irritable. And the thing that, and I know we're going to wrap up soon, but the thing about mental health and how it presents itself in the Black community as a whole is different. It is more severe. Same thing like with COVID. Like everybody got it, but pre-existing conditions made it 10 times worse within our community. The same thing applies to mental health.
Yeah.
Because of pre-existing conditions, things that we have endured, it some treatments don't even work on us.
Mm.
Some treatments that work on our other counterparts don't work on us because what is the things that we have experienced is so ingrained in our DNA, because trauma changes your DNA. Did you know that? It Because it's so ingrained in our DNA, the treatments aren't working. And so we deal with those things of isolation times 1,000. And so we just have to remind ourselves and others that strength includes asking for help. And speaking of help, I think it's something dope that the Missouri Conference Sons of Allen are doing. Like I can take credit for it, but the men and the churches have combined to do this annual retreat called Boys to Men. And I know you're probably thinking that they singing and stuff, but I ain't never been because I'm not invited. But it's not the group that we thinking of. But it's a opportunity for men of all ages to be able to come and have a sense of community. And it's actually coming up. It's next weekend. If y'all see Reverend Richardson, I don't know if he gonna watch this, but see him, he'll get y'all the information. But it's an opportunity for them to be able to join together, and it's across the age group. My nephews who are 8 and 11 have been going, I believe, the last 3 years or whatever. And they're always coming to tell me of what they learned about drones or life or whatever. And you're seeing men from all walks of life share their story and feel supported. And my brother's able to go. So it's really cool. And they, like I said, they eat, they swim in the pool. So I'm told one year my nephews won the cornhole thing, and it's like this big wooden thing with a circle, and they toss the bean bags. It's my youngest nephew favorite toy. Like he want to take it every place we go. So if nothing else, you win prizes, and so that always makes you feel good and feel supported.
Oh, I love that. I love that. But on a serious note, though, Reverend Stephanie, how do we tackle the mistrust that Black men feel towards the mental health systems? Did you know they're scared?
Yeah, I think it's representation. I think that if there are any Black men, Black boys that see this, that are interested in mental health, pursue it, pursue it, pursue it. Go, go, go. Because you will unlock things for your bloodline, like for your people, because it's not a lot of Black mental health professionals, male or female. And it's even further limited being being a male practitioner. So I think it's important to have the representation and also having the education. So we need to share the facts that depression is not just sadness. It's a condition that can affect your daily life, that you no longer do things. You are irritable. You have loss of appetite. Like there's so many things. It affects your relationships and your hobbies, and it could be devastating. It leads to life of crime, or can lead to addiction, because you're trying to self-medicate, right? You're trying to numb the pain, whether that be alcoholism or drug, whatever it may be. You're trying to numb yourself, and numb so much it even leads to suicide. Did you know that Black men complete suicide 4 times more than Black women?
Wow.
That's absolutely devastating.
It is.
Like that's something that, like, I don't know, just get me in my feels to know that our men are hurting like that.
Yeah, that's sad. It really is. And what would you say to a Black man who's listening right now and struggling in silence?
I will say that you're not alone, that there are people who love you. Let me tell you, I don't think that there's anything better than a Black man that walks the face of this earth. Nothing. I think it's absolutely nothing. Your resilience, your strength is unmatched. And to say that you need help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength, that you would reach out, that somebody might be able to support you. So whether that be a friend or a pastor or a therapist, healing is possible. And just as much as I deserve to be happy, y'all deserve to be happy too, Reverend Fletch. You deserve to be happy, friend. Like that's just what it is. And sometimes we need people to help us to be happy. And as when we're in the church, when we do the call to salvation, and if you don't want to walk by yourself, you grab your neighbor's hand so that they can walk with you, or you raise your hand that someone comes with you. Raise your hand if you need help. There are people who are willing to walk it with you to get you to where you need to be, that we all can thrive. Because if y'all not okay, then the world not okay.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Amen to that. Y'all listen, Reverend Stephanie, this is her profession. She knows what she's talking about. I mean, I trust her. I hope you guys do too. Because to all the men, you heard what she said. You're not alone. We see you, we hear you, and we're rooting for you. We're rooting for each other. So thanks for rocking with us on Bridge to Wellness on tonight. And if you are someone that you know is struggling, don't wait to reach out for help. Don't wait. Reach out. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. And we'll see you next week.